I've just been reminded, which I normally forget, your first name, your age, where you're from, as we go around. I normally don't remember till the third or fourth day, but they reminded me this morning. Age, name, age, first name, where you're from. Go around, please.
Chet, Oklahoma, 38.
Sam, 18, Australia.
Xavier, 40, Belgium, Brussels.
Dan, 30, Vegas.
Ben, 35, Australia.
Albert, 23. Frederick, 29, Denmark.
There's a 24 and 29. I didn't mishear that, did I? Okay.
Bruce, Vietnam, 39.
Amin, 38, Canada.
Reese, 34, UK.
Jessica, 40, Fort Worth.
Justin, 37, United States.
Olga, 23, Manchester.
Lucas, 37, Poland.
Florent, 41, French guy in Dubai.
Orlando, 33, California.
Kaden, Ghana, 20.
You sure? Okay.
Henry, California, 46.
Cecile, 32, California.
Peter, 37, Hungary.
Tigran, 28, San Jose, California.
Eugen, 41, San Francisco.
Henry, 47, New York.
Gareth, 47, UK.
Now, for those of you, some of you think everybody knows what Fort Worth is. They don't. Some of you that use just the city, they don't know where the fuck that is. Could be in Estonia, because these are not ignorant people, but they're not necessarily worldly people, and so, but that's fine. But and I'm sure I'll get some smart-ass emails, or I don't get anything. My crack staff. And why do I say crack staff? Because it's right next to crap. And staff aren't always crack, meaning that they do exactly what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it, right? So I say crack because sometimes they're crap. But these two guys that have been with me a long time, actually since before she graduated from university a few years ago, this is going to be a life-changing experience for you this week. And but I wanted to read something because I spend a lot of time, and most of the people that follow me, not 100%, but most want to turn nothing into billions. That's an exaggeration, but more or less. You know what I mean, right? So they want to turn shit into gold, basically. Because you're shit, basically, vis-a-vis creating generational wealth. A couple of you in here have a few bob or a few shekels, a few pennies, but nothing to brag about. But what I don't focus on is the transformation that the kids go through that don't necessarily make shit into gold vis-a-vis generational wealth right away, but they turn their lives around and they turn their businesses around. So I just wanted to read this email I got from a kid. As you know, I closed my first deal, $6 million, 4 months ago, okay? A radiology deal, it was a deal. I warmed up my next targets with NDAs, et cetera, and one has a value of 11 million and another one have 10 million, which I have now closed, I believe. You're also aware that I have an IT company. He had an IT company when he came here. You know who I'm talking about, right? Okay. I have applied the QLA model to this business as well. 2 years ago, the business was turning over, had revenues of 8 million per annum with a 5% EBITDA. In other words, 5% earnings before interest, depreciation, tax, and amortization. We'll talk more about that later in the week. I hired a CEO and gave her equity and built a board for his non-QLA company. We have grown the business via acquisitions to 14 million and 15% EBITDA. So he tripled his EBITDA and he increased almost by 100% their revenue. In 18 months, we have completed 4 transactions using only vendor finance. In other words, seller's finance. Yesterday, I got approved for a bank facility, non-recourse, $3 million to spend on deals I don't even have on the table. I interviewed 5 banks and selected one which took 4 months of continuous beatings with the credit cunts managers to let the personal guarantee go. My entire line of reasoning, because people like me don't fucking have to give a fuck. He was one of the guys, most of you, and we're going to talk a lot about that, want to be liked. You want to fit in. And who did you learn that from? Your parents, right? Okay. A couple of you said you don't give a fuck about your parents, but that's all horseshit. I'm going to prove that you're just a cunt. A short, fat cunt. Very seldom does anybody come in here that's not a cunt. Some are short and fat. Some are tall and skinny. Some are bald. But you're still a cunt. Compared to Steve Jobs, compared to Warren Buffett, compared to me, compared to Henry Ford I, Andrew Carnegie, etc. You're just a vagina flapping in the fucking wind. And you should have rolled down the inside of your mama's leg. There's not anybody in this room that has brought anything to the world. Not one fucking person. Where was I? Okay. I just ordered a brand new car, an AMG, which a lot of you kids buy after the seminar, which is a piece of shit. Everybody know what an AMG is? Okay, well, it's a piece of shit. Okay. Nobody after this, no, I take that back. A couple of you have bought rolls, but you bought the pretend rolls. There's a starter rolls, and then there's the rolls out front. The starter rolls is the rolls that you buy. It's kind of like you have a starter erector set when you're growing up, or a starter Lego set. They have a starter rolls. It doesn't cost too much. Okay. He's coming back in August to the seminar for another beating. This group, we're fortunate, not for him, for Peter, who's sitting in the front row. Did you have one of the stars in the making? Not star in the making, he is already a star because what he's already done. Buying hospitals in a place where you supposedly couldn't do QLA and you couldn't buy hospitals. He is now the proud owner of 4, I believe. And he can tell his story later. But in fact, he's one of the webinars that we use that he's already filmed over the last year or so to show the QLA really works. But you actually have somebody in the audience that's come back after about 2 3/4 years from the initial seminar, which was in July in 2016. And he came to the hardcore in December 2017. And again, he's here partially because default's a bitch. Because even after you go out there and you scale the fucking Mount Everest, or whatever is your Mount Everest, right? It's hard to stay on track. Whoever said it's hard to get successful, but it's harder to stay successful, I don't know who that was, but they were right. And myself personally, since I haven't had to work in about 35 years, a lot of the kids in emails and on YouTube, etc., in their comments, and even in the seminars, how do you get up every morning, Mr. Peña? Because 35 years ago, I had more money than any of you put down on your goals before you got here. And there wasn't one goal, other than one said $1 billion, but that's just bullshit because you don't know what $1 billion is. But anyway, one person, some of you put down 8 million, 10 million. You wasted your money coming here. If that's all you want. Now, one of my favorite, they put it where I could find it today. My clicker, which is, so for the people sitting in the front, just keep track of where I put this down because sometimes I can't find it. You pissed a lot of people off. What did you do? I told them the fucking truth. Everything you've heard, 98% of everything you've heard prior to coming here, other than the stuff I told you to read before you showed up here, other than the free stuff on my website, is bullshit. Vis-a-vis creating generational wealth. You have not read anything. You have not read anything that's worth a shit. Now, I didn't realize it, but almost 26 years ago to the day, in a few days, I'll be 26 years doing this. It was my ambition to say in 4 words what other people say in a whole book. Just fucking do it. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to listen to podcasts. You don't have to read ebooks and all the things that you guys and gals listen to and read. If you just came out of the womb, and I know you're not walking when you come out of the womb, but as soon as you could crawl, walk, etc., and you just start fucking doing it, you wouldn't be here today. But who tells you not to just fucking do it, right? Your parents. Stay out of the street, you're going to get hurt. When you go to school your first day in kindergarten, whatever your school is, keep your head down. Don't get in trouble. If you get in trouble, I'm going to tell your father. You know the drill, right? And look what the result has been. Dog shit vaginas. And we're going to give you your vagina cream later that you can spread on. The girls are the only ones that really know how to use it. Maybe one of the girls will give you a lesson. And why? And some of the guys and gals put this on their, on the top of their, or next to their laptops or their computers. So to remember always, you're a cunt. And by cunt, I mean a coward. I don't mean the feminine parts. Part, not plural. Part, not parts. Because you've been raised to be a coward. And for those of you that have been in the military, thank you for your service. And there's a couple of you. And I always thank all the vets and the current active duty guys and gals. But you are what you are because of how you were raised. But I did it in 4 words. I didn't realize how profound those 4 words when I came out with them, because that's how I was raised. My dad didn't say, just fucking do it. He just said, do it. And I would rather ask for forgiveness than permission. You have been raised just the opposite. You would rather have permission than forgiveness. Hence, you haven't done anything to speak of. Yes, I am the greatest of all time wealth creator because I'm the only one that has created millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions, tens of billions, and hundreds of billions with fucking meatheads. Well, maybe not like you. This is maybe a lower grade of meathead, this group. And nobody else can say that. Not even remotely close. And as Brian QLA Rose said, he released on, as I said last night, on Easter Sunday, 5 years ago to the day, the first interview that he did with me, and he says, trillionaire. Well, I'm happily on my way to creating $1 trillion, but I'm currently, although we're adding up some new numbers, we're at about 665 billion. Now, who else can say that? Nobody. Yet, since you discovered me, there are people in this room that have gone to other seminars, that have listened to other podcasts, that have read other books. Since you discovered me. Why would you do that? Because remember I told you, you're not here because you're inspired, you're here because you're desperate. And you thought, just maybe I'll find just one thing before I go to see the fucking crazy psychopath. Because you're afraid. We have higher than a 50% dropout rate from this program. Divorce and or business split-ups. Higher than 50. Whoops. When you can take a guy who has amoeba for a brain and he clocks up 40 million, you are God. You're looking at him. There is nobody on the fucking planet that can say what I just said. Nobody. Not even a half of one. You can take the whole fucking personal development and financial consulting businesses cumulatively since the beginning of motherfucking time. Yet, some of you in this room will not follow the 7 simple steps. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. You can't do it because you just can't do it. Usain Bolt, arguably one of the great sprinters of all time, against one of you, it's no contest, right? Sprinting. But you'll still be better off, geometrically. Even if you can't be a world record holder, a gold medalist. Because right now, you're dog shit. If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit down for a month. Because it's you that's responsible for where you are in your life. Now, I put almost all the blame on your parents and who raised you. If it wasn't your parents that raised you, then whoever raised you, because they're the ones that give you no role model. Many of you are in this room, and many of the people that follow me on YouTube are here because I'm the alpha male dad you never had. Now, I didn't know when I started this almost 26 years ago, as Bruce the Whipple would tell you, who I've known since before I started being a coach, mentor. I underestimated grossly how hard it is to get you guys across the goal line. Because I thought everybody had self-esteem. I don't know where I got that thought. But the people that I hung with, I chilled with, had self-esteem. I didn't know that everybody was a cunt. I had no idea. Didn't even dawn on me until about the 10th, 11th, 12th month of my coaching. I gave 22 seminars the first year that I coached. 22. And about 15, 16, 17, right in that number, I realized that I wasn't getting the results. I was so busy running around the world giving seminars. Then I went back and I started following up on the kids that attended the seminar. And other than Bruce Whipple and half a dozen others, I wasn't getting the results that I had hoped for. And then slowly but surely, over the years, it became infinitely obvious that there was no self-esteem, no self-worth, little or no self-confidence. And self-esteem is the bedrock of high performance. So this seminar should be called the traits of the high performance individual, which you have little or none. We're going to talk about the movies that you saw last night. As soon as after we comment on the movies, then you're going to pass in your homework. But you're going to see a series of films, most of which you can't relate to because you aren't where those people are. For example, you're not where Mike Tyson was when he was top of his game. Okay, most of you are. I believe you saw the backwards bicycle. You're the backwards bicycle. Some of you, unfortunately, as good as I am, will be at the backwards bicycle all your lives, no matter what I do. Because down deep inside, you have already resolved in your mind, wrongfully, that you can't do it, as opposed to you can do it. Shalom, salam, wie geht's, privet, hey dude, Mike, I shoot, salute, fuck yous, as they say in Glasgow. Fuck yous, you cunt. This is the beginning of the rest of your life. Goodbye, YouTube.